What's going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street, RotoStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with your week one rankings. I'm so pumped. We are there, guys. One more sleep, and we are going to have football on the screen. Never mind a potential barn burner of a game with the Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Yes, we have made it. Football season has arrived, and I cannot wait to get the action going. I know every single one of you is dying to see Scott Hansen announce quad boxes of delight come Sunday. Oh, it's just, there's no words to describe it. And I'm going to go live here through my rankings. I have not set them yet. I always like to do this as a process to kind of show you what I'm thinking, what my mind is at while we go through these rankings. And of course, answer any sit starts at the end. So get those on in if you have some early week one sit starts. I'll be live with the truth tomorrow as well for our preview show, going over all the higher, lowers, Hail Marys. This is just the first ranking set, the first draft. I like to do it live and kind of go through my process with you guys. So come on in. Let me know what questions you have. Thank you so much for being out there. If you're willing to give this a thumbs up, a like, to help us get out to more people, shares, retweets are so appreciated. Thank you guys so much. That would be mean the world if you like this content. But let's dive right on in. I'm going to add to the stream here, and you'll see me kind of bounce through a few different things. One of them I always like to check first is the lines. Vegas knows what games are going to be shootouts. They are very good at projecting this stuff, and I love to check what games they think could explode before then diving into my quarterback rankings and just overall offenses. You want points. You want games where points are being put up. It's not that complicated. So tomorrow, Cowboys Bucks 52. That's going to be a barn burner of a game. You see a few 48s, 48.5s, 47s with Eagles, Falcons, Steelers, Bills. In particular, I think the Eagles, Falcons could definitely go over that. Vikings, Bengals, like a lot of intriguing offensive games here. 49ers, Detroit Lions is not looking like the best of targets at 44.5, but I think those 49ers will have no problems putting up points tomorrow, Sunday rather. Cardinals Titans 52.5, a beautiful juice bomb of a game. Over 50 is what you kind of want, like you see with the Seahawks and the Colts there. 54.5 for the Browns and the Chiefs. Ooh, baby, 50. Green Bay Packers and Saints. You love to see it. 50.5 for the Ravens and the Raiders. Did not expect that one to be quite so high. In fact, I think I might take the under if I'm a betting man there. But you can see there's plenty of over 50 or plus games, and that's what you love to see. So we'll bounce back and forth between that. We'll also show you guys the PFF secondary rankings. I think that's crucial to check out. They go through all their grades and project what are going to be some of the worst and best secondaries in the league, which of course is important for these quarterback rankings. And last but not least, as a process, I do love to check fantasy points against. Now I know, of course, the defenses from last year won't be the same exact as they are this year, but even still, it's nice to see the points against. If there's anything you can't see well, please keep me posted, comment in, but otherwise, let's dive right into these quarterback rankings. I mean, nothing needs to be said about Pat Mahomes. Like we just saw, 54.5 projected. He's going to go crazy. There's no doubt about that in my mind. So against Cleveland, not a great secondary. Well, they've actually upgraded the secondary a lot. I'm guessing they're pretty high here. Top 3 secondary. But I'm not worried. Pat Mahomes is secondary proof. Let's see where they ranked last year. I mean, they were 8th most generous to quarterbacks last year, these Browns. Mahomes is going to get it done against anybody. So I am not overly worried about that, especially at home against, anybody at Arrowhead coming against Mahomes. It's going to be a bloodbath. I know Nate Taylor said something like they haven't scored less than, I think, 35 in a home opener for the last 4 years. So I'm banking on a ton of points from Patty Mahomes. From there, we saw 52.5 for Kyler Murray and Tennessee. I think that is definitely something that I love. I know the Titans are not a good defense, the 5th best. We look at their secondary. I think it's going to be bottom 20 there as well. So 5th most points, bottom 20 defense like Kyler Murray should absolutely smash. I really think Tom Brady, I think the Cowboys might have the worst secondary in the league. According to PFF, I think they're 28th. Cowboys, 31st. So even worse than that. Cowboys last year, only 14th in points allowed to quarterbacks. That's pretty surprising to me. Their secondary is atrocious. Raising the banner. This is going to be a more seasoned Antonio Brown. Like Brady's going to go nuts. I do think Lamar Jackson could go pretty ham as well, but ultimately he has no weapons to throw to. He was very pedestrian last year. Give me Brady. Give me Brady against Dallas right there. I can't have Josh Allen any lower than 4th. And I don't think the Steelers have a particularly good secondary. The 12th best, so, nothing special, nothing bad either, not atrocious. 31st in terms of points allowed to quarterbacks last year. Pretty risky, but ultimately Josh Allen at home for Buffalo, like that is – you're going to get some points from him, no doubt about it. We had another 50-plus pointer from Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers going to New Orleans. I'd love that one to just be a points bonanza. But Jalen Hurts against Atlanta, like that could be sneaky huge. Ryan Tannehill has the run back. Love that as well. I don't know about Dak Prescott against this Tampa Bay defense. I think by the end, his stat line will be like, okay, 300-ish yards, but I think he'll throw a couple picks, maybe 1 to 2 touchdowns. He's not going to light any world on fire, in my opinion. So I'm not that into Dak, even though, again, nobody threw for more yards, and they're going to have to put up points to keep pace. So I'm not going to bump him outside my top 10, but I think 10 is a very fair ranking there. And Justin Herbert, obviously Washington has a great front 7. Let's see where their secondary steps up. So top, 11 there. Not bad in terms of points allowed. Washington, bottom. So yeah, they're pretty dang good as a secondary. Dang good. Herbert should still, I think he's going to light this world on fire this year. Now moving forward, playing that matchup game, I too think Baker Mayfield against Kansas City is going to have to sling. So it's like a week 1 stream. I really like that. I do think Matt Ryan might even be in a better spot against the 27th. You're looking at Pro Secondary, PFF's rankings, the Eagles, 25th. Pretty horrendous defense there. So I think Matt Ryan, and I think that game is going to be a 48.5 is nothing. I think that game is definitely going to smash that over. So really big fan. I might even take Jalen Hurts this week over Aaron Rodgers. I think Trevor Lawrence against Houston, I love that matchup on paper, but remember how bad Houston is against the run. They're just going to want to pound them into submission with Mr. Gus Edwards. I'd rather Mr. James Robinson. So I like the matchup on paper for Lawrence. Houston certainly has, I believe, one of the worst secondaries. What do we got here? Texans, they just traded Bradley Roby, who's probably their best player. So the secondary just got even worse. I imagine they're going to just rifle down the bottom here. Houston, 6th most points allowed to QBs. Detroit, we got, Jimmy Garoppolo coming to town. Atlanta, Jalen Hurts. The Jets facing Sam Darnold. I sneaky love that game. I'm going to be bumping Darnold up big. Murray against the Titans. Jacksonville Jags against QBs allowing a ton, but Tyrod Taylor, who gives a shit? Raiders, top 10 in points allowed and still a awful secondary. So, maybe I'm a little too low on Lamar here. Don't know why I'm searching Lamar's. Let's look where the Raiders rank at 29th. So a bad unit. Maybe I got to reconsider Lamar, bump him up just a little bit. But I really think Brady's going to be just hucking, absolutely chucking touchdowns. But I do like Baker. I think Darnold, though, at revenge game Darnold, I'm going to go all in on that one. I think he's going to go nuts against who's on the Jets secondary. Could you name 2 people? Could you name 1? I can't. They're atrocious. Stafford should be higher, but Chicago has typically had a good secondary 19, so nothing that special according to PFF. Let's see how they were in points allowed, 21st, so middle of the pack. Maybe I need to be a little bit higher on Stafford. I'll keep bumping in, and let me know if there's any specific matchups you guys want me to pull up. I'm a big Fitzmagic fan. I think that game has shootout written all over it. So clearly, one of my bigger lowers of the week is Trevor Lawrence. That's a huge risk against this awful secondary. I don't know. I think they're going to be very run heavy. I really do. Let me see what Minnesota's secondary. They were atrocious last year, middle of the pack this year. What were they in terms of points allowed? So they were decent, but they just had no names last year. I think Zach Wilson's going to surprise. What about Buffalo secondary? I'm intrigued by Big Ben. 4th best secondary, and they ranked, middle of the pack, but they've made some improvements this offseason. So let's add a tier here. Let's call these like the remaining potential QB ones. Joe Burrow, middle of the pack. He makes me a little nervous. I do think Cousins I might prefer as a week 1 streamer. And the Bengals might have the worst. 15th? I wouldn't have thought that. Now 19th. So, yeah, I guess the Bengals have a little bit of a better secondary than I give them credit for. This seems about right, though. A little bit lower on Lawrence, higher on Darnold. I mean, Darnold over Lawrence. That's maybe I'm getting a little too antsy. Maybe he belongs like right about here. Because Lawrence, he looked so good in that final preseason game. I just think they're going to pound them. Like they just want to pound that rock if they can, and they certainly will be able to against the Texans. But from here, big fan of Zach Wilson. I'm nervous about Winston against Green Bay. Great secondary, Jair Alexander, one of the best. Now, it might just be Jair, but yeah, sixth best there for Packers, one of the lesser ones. Yeah, so I'm a little nervous with not a lot of weaponry there for Jameis. I'm going to be bumping him down. I'll bump Jimmy G up, even though I think the run game is what's really going to dominate there. From here, I don't like Carr at all. Don't like Tua at all this week. Freaking hate Daniel Jones. Like, I'll take this. I'll give Carson Wentz a little bit of a bump up over some of these guys as a desperation streamer. I think Mac Jones deserves more respect than some of these guys. He could be your sleeper of the week. We don't need to rank Fields or Lance or Hill. Andy Dalton clearly belongs at the bottom of this list alongside Jared Goff. I agree with that. I think Bridgewater could sneaky surprise. Now, where are the Giants? They had Bradbury, who's good. So top 7 secondary according to PFF. So that was a good secondary. That game just kind of reeks. But I'll take him over Danny Jones. Like, I think Daniel Jones is going to just fall flat on his face. He's horrible. Tyrod has some rushing upside. I mean, it's gross, but Jacksonville was top 5 in points allowed to quarterbacks last year. I think this is kind of how it's shaken out. So, like, God himself, Mahomes, with a 54.5 over-under spread. That game should go nuts. You got your, like, elite QB1s that probably put up 25 to 30. You got your guys that will threaten to be those, clear-cut QB1s, threaten to be in here. Fringe QB1s, high upside QB2s. Against Stafford, most weeks is going to have this type of upside. But against Chicago, first game in McVay's system, I don't know if I'm going to go all in right off the bat. And then your QB2s right here, then just please don't. Come on, be better than that. So those are my quarterback rankings. Let's get on over to running back. Now, I won't, obviously, the secondaries aren't going to matter there, but I do want to check the points against and kind of shout out. We saw the spreads already. Those aren't as important. The lines are actually more important, like what teams are heavily favored because they're going to be pounding the rock more. So we could look at some of the lines, like what teams are heavily favored. I love this site, thelines.com. Very clean layout. So let's check out the spreads. Bucks favored big, so potentially that's a big spread for the Bucks. I don't know about that. You Bills pounding out, but they don't do that. 49ers, they're going to beat the Lions by more than 7.5, but that's a pretty big spread. Rams pounding it out with Sony Michel late in the game, potentially. I think Ravens should have a bigger, they should be favored by a lot more than 4. Ooh. And there goes my my light here. 1 second, folks. Tech difficulties. All righty. And we're back. So let's get on over to the running backs again, looking at those big spreads. The biggest ones being the Cowboys and the Bills and the 49ers. The 49ers run game, very intrigued by, as everybody should be. Kyle Shanahan produces monsters in that zone scheme. But otherwise, not interested in Bills, not interested in Bucks. It's going to be too widely spread. Now let's look at the points against as well. Detroit Lions getting those 49ers guys, the most points allowed to running backs. Texans, you got James Robinson, workhorse, maybe Carlos Hyde is like a Hail Mary. If you're really desperate for a running back, you shouldn't be this early, but maybe you want 0 running back. I think Carlos Hyde could fit that bill. Jags on the other side of that, so maybe Ingram and Lindsey as Hail Marys as well. Too bad a couple gross backfields are getting some of the best matchups with the Jags versus the Texans there. The Raiders allowed a ton of specifically receiving work to running backs, so Gus Edwards could hit that ground running. Packers versus running backs was a joke, so Alvin Kamara should absolutely destroy them. Titans, so maybe Chase Edmonds gets out to a fast start against the Titans. Vikes were very generous to running backs. They did make a lot of defensive improvements this year, though. I think that's a defense that's going to be on the rise, a streamer defense I don't hate this week against the Bengals. They're fairly generous, though, so Joe Mixon could get off to a good start. You got the Bengals also on the other side, so Dalvin Cook have a day, kid. Panthers against the Jets, whatever. Jets running backs, bleh. And then you got your Cowboys were surprisingly generous. Not surprisingly, the defense sucks. Generous against the run. So just keep that in mind in terms of like the most difficult last year. Saints were really, really good, but Aaron Jones should eat either way. They lost a couple players as well. Steelers were good against everything, including running backs. The football team, that D-line is ferocious. So I don't really want to touch anybody in the Chargers. I mean, Eckler's different because he's such a receiver, but you're not trying to get cute with any other running backs there anyways. You're not going to bench Eckler, but it's not the ideal setup. The Bucks versus Zeke without one of his top linemen, that's going to be tricky. How do you rank those? David Montgomery out of the gates in a tough matchup against Aaron Donald. Pretty gross. Falcons, somehow decent against running backs last year. They were pretty sneaky generous as receivers to running back time, but they're much more pass susceptible with one of the worst. What are they? Are they the worst team? Secondary? Yeah, Atlanta Falcons, the worst secondary in the league. Again, for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to go nuts in week 1. But let's get this going. I think Kamara against Green Bay is my number 2 back this week. But you can rank all 4 of these guys in the top 4. Henry, not a tough matchup. How was the Cardinals? Middle of the pack. So nothing too scary there for Henry. Doesn't really matter for Henry. I do think is Seattle, were they? I'm just going to kind of keep checking backs, middle of the pack as well for Seattle. I think Mixon against Kansas City was sneaky generous to running backs, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, number 11, and they're going to want Chubb. I'm going to bump him up. Yeah, I get the game flow. Could be a concern if they get down early, but they're going to do their best to have Chubb get an early lead, continue to pound him out. So I like Chubb a bit. I like Mixon more than Jones. I do like Aaron Jones, but I think against the very tough New Orleans defense, the fewest points allowed to running backs last year, that makes me a little bit nervous. Maybe even Najee Harris. I think we're going to see a huge coming out party for Najee Harris, similar to Antonio Gibson. How are the Chargers against the run? Middle of the pack in terms of points allowed to running backs. I do, as I said, James Robinson, RB1 season. You told me James Robinson next year was facing last year. The James Robinson, number RB7 last year, was getting the worst run D in the league, and he'd be bottom 10. I think he might need a little bit bump up into his top 10 here. Big fan of James Robinson coming up as a bona fide RB1 this week. I think Mostert needs a little bit more love. Not above Zeke necessarily, even though the one thing working in Zeke's favor is Tampa Bay gave up a lot of receptions to running backs, and I think he'll still be their guy. I am a little nervous of Eckler coming out week 1, but he's as a receiver, he's doing his damage anyways. Nothing about Indy scares me too. I mean, Darius Leonard scares me, but I don't. Yeah, I mean, 21st, not horrible, but that game's going to be a points factory. Gus Edwards against the Raiders, a very generous run D. Saquon, I'm nervous against here. I think Denver was pretty good. Oh, actually not against running backs last year. But they, again, have made a ton of moves. And they're already talking about reduced workloads for Saquon. So he makes me nervous this week. He does. What about Philly? I feel like they're always okay against the run. Yeah, 22nd. They usually have a beastly D-line. I'm not a Clyde's fan. How are the Browns? And they added linebackers, D-linemen. Wow. I can't tell. Yeah, 26. So they were not very generous. He's less than fully healthy. I'm not into him. Let's kind of tier these out. So these are going to be your low-end ones, high-end twos. Swift, I'd have a hard time. Give me Harris. I think Harris is going to roll. I'll bump him up to running back 19. I think running back 18. They're going to steamroll. I think Miami, nothing overly special. That's 23. Better than I expect, but this team's just going to play bully ball all year. I think Gaskin. I think the Pats are going to swallow them up. Call me an optimistic Pats fan, but really lower on Clydesdale this week. Let me see him fully healthy. Let me see him getting goal line work. Let me see what Jerick McKinnon's role is. If I can bench him, I think I want to. From here, this is where it gets really tricky in these rankings, folks. This is tough. So, and again, keep your questions coming in. As I said, I'll get to all of them at the end. I'm not ignoring you guys, promise. I appreciate you guys sticking here with me this long as I sift through the process. It's not as easy doing it as live as you'd think. I think Sony Michel gets a bump above a lot of these guys. I'm not a Moss guy. So let's kind of sift through some of this. I think Connor has sneaky high TD upside. I mean, the Titans were one of the worst run Ds last year, right? Yeah. So like Edmonds, Connor, Javonte. How were the Giants? They were good against the pass. Were they good against the run? Right in the middle of the pack. So how's that backfield going to shake out? Kareem Hunt. It's tough to be that high on Chubb and be, much higher on Hunt either. But even if Chubb has a big early game, and what did Chubb in the playoffs? Didn't he have like 150 and 2 TDs against them in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken? He'll steamroll. But Hunt should still be involved as a pass catcher too. It's tricky. I feel Chicago's always a tough D. What do they rank? Yeah. I'm not a big Henderson fan. This might be one of the rare weeks where, like Ronald Jones, I actually don't hate putting him in there. But I would go Javonte over him and give Javonte a little bump up. They gave this guy the rest of like a starter in the preseason. They probably are going to let this guy rip it right from the start, especially against a crap Giants team. They'll get up early and feel comfortable riding their horse. I don't hate that. Trey Sermon, though, I could see this one being just a blowout. They go and get their rookie going. Like if I had to pick one or the other, I kind of like Trey. Not a fan of Jacobs. Like they're going to get down early, and that's going to be a Kenyon Drake type of script, in my opinion. Let's call this tier here. Melvin Gordon is so tricky because he is a good player, 3-down skill set, but far from a guarantee. I really think Connor has like 2 touchdown upside. I'm going to bump him into here. Am I nuts? Like maybe these guys, Swift and Hilaire, belong a tier above. Just because Hilaire isn't such a good offense. I'm really nervous about Swift tomorrow, though. Guy hasn't played all preseason. He's not in game shape. Yeah, he's healthy, but like I'm probably fading Swift. So let's let the rankings kind of reflect that. This seems about right so far. Now let's get down here. Who could be playable in this gross? I mean, I know I'm not touching David fucking Johnson or Michael Carter. Like Tevin Coleman, Hail Mary time. The Panthers were historically bad, right? Like Carolina. I guess they got better as the year went on, but they were atrocious last year. Coleman, the starter, shot out of a cannon, they're saying. I think he deserves a little more love. Sony, I think, is going to be that de facto goal line back. Again, lower on Henderson. I'm not into Henderson this year. Could be dead wrong, but he's never looked that good. I don't care about his number 1 PFF grade for like 2 weeks. He's never been that good. Who else? I don't hate Ty Johnson. Carolina. I think that game's going to be a sneaky points factory. What was the over-under on that one? Because I'll probably hammer the over. Let's go to that. Jets. Yeah, 44. I think that's going to go over. That's way too low. I think Ingram, like David Johnson, is well below Ingram and Lindsey. Where's Lindsey here? Yeah, I think like these guys. I think James White, he always puts in like a week one touchdown. It's just tradition. So I wouldn't be opposed to having him in my lineup. Do think Lindsey has some upside. Dillon maybe plods in for a touchdown. But I do think Ingram also carries some upside. McKissick, good pass catcher, more usable than Dillon or Singletary, like off the bat. I don't like Bills running backs. I don't like Zach Moss as a player, as a human. I don't want much to do with him. Fournette, I don't know what to do with that backfield either. But again, 8.5-point favorites. They could be bleeding clock. These are kind of like my last you could consider for your lineup type guys. I think Hines gets a little bump. I've been a little too low on Hines this offseason. I think Gordon belongs in the tier above too. He could just be the de facto guy, and we'll check the notes and look for that. Down here, I think Bernard as like a Hail Mary belongs significantly higher. I'm just going to kind of pick out any names. Wouldn't be surprised to see Ramondre like steamroll right from the start. Boston Scott, way too undervalued. Like there's definitely some usable guys deep down this list. So I'll have a bunch of Hail Mary streams for you guys, it seems like, tomorrow. I think Tony Jones is going to get more involvement than this gives him credit for. Man, it's top 10 in accuracy for rankings. Plenty of weeks last year. This is a tough week one, though. This is coming at you hard. I don't think there's going to be much else to see. Most of these guys are going to get the X. So anybody left on this list that I should be higher on, maybe Tyson, just because I don't think Bell. I think Bell long-term is going to hurt this guy. But for right now, let's get Ingram above the crap from the Bills. Just stay away from the Bills backfield. No need to do it. All righty, guys. That gives us our running back rankings. We're going to turn our attention on over to the pass catchers. Don't worry. I see 37 questions already. Wow, keep them coming, guys. You know I'll get there. Cannot wait to. And again, that thumbs up button helps us get out to more people. It would be so greatly appreciated if you consider YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, wherever you're watching. Please consider giving us the thumbs up as we rip through these rankings. So against wide receivers, you got your Falcons against those Eagles. So Devonta Smith, Quez Watkins could have himself a blow-up day. Titans against the receivers. So DeAndre Hopkins have a field day. Week 1, Detroit Lions, Debo. You got Ayuk. Like they're going to put up points early. So I don't know how both of those guys. How do you bench either though against the third most points allowed? They allow so many points to every position. Cowboys, get all your bucks in tomorrow. Don't overthink that one. Vikings against receivers were super generous. That's probably why I thought they had such a bad secondary. So that doesn't. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, like Tyler Boyd, all very much in play. Yeah, your Seahawks were just a joke of a secondary. I think this year they're like Jamal Adams was horrible in coverage, even though he's back. Good in pass rush. So they're 26th ranked. Could have some upside. You got the Texans against those Jags. Visca. I mean, come on now. He's going to destroy them as like a runner, receiver. They're horrible tackling unit. All about it. All about that. This is why this game, Eagles, Falcons, like there is just bad defenses, bad secondaries on both sides of the ball. That's 48.5 over under. I think that hits 50 easily, in my opinion. Then you got your Dolphins against, Jacoby Myers could go nuts. Cleveland Browns, Tyreek Hill have. See you later. Throw up the peace sign, Tyreek. You know you're going to be scoring a ton. So top tier. It's tough to argue with any of these five, kind of like your big five in drafts. I would say I want to bump Hopkins above Ridley, even though Ridley should smash. It's nothing against Ridley. I think that's about right. I don't know why this is. I'm going to go to tight end and go back to receiver because it's saying like there's some imaginary receiver on this ranking tool right now. Let's go back. All righty. From here, A.J. Brown, yeah, should kill it, but those knees, what's going on there? Give me DK. You know, how were we against points for the Chargers? They were pretty tough. Yep, so that's not great for McLaurin. More secondary boost, but they're still legit. Indy, they were not that great. Yeah, 15, so right in the middle of the pack. Love me some DK. How about the Bengals? They were one of the better corners, but 16th, so not great. I guess I'm over exaggerating. I love Mike Evans in week 1, though. I think you're getting 2 touchdown upside. Keenan Allen, and what was Washington against receivers? They were top 11. Yeah, so the second fewest points, but Keenan's going to get peppered either way. This is tough. Like already, I would say this is kind of the tier cutoff of like your wide receiver ones. Let's see from here. Yeah, Allen Robinson, I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, the fewest allowed. One of the better secondaries in the league because you got Jalen Ramsey. Number 9. So, I mean, the true shutdown corner, though. Good defenses all around, though, in terms of these secondaries. Where do the Bucks rank? Number 8. Yeah, they really – remember 2 years ago, it was just like you just smash play where I was facing them. I like Higgins more. DJ Moore. Bump him up. Bump Godwin down a little bit just because you got that quad issue going on. And Antonio Brown is just eaten. I think he needs to be bumped up. I'm definitely going to be lower on Godwin this week. CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to bump him up a little bit. And Amari. Where's Cooper? Yeah, Cooper. It's decent secondary, but I think these guys will eventually – they're going to get down so big they're just going to be chucking late, and you're going to get some nice garbage from them. Garbage time stuff. Let's kind of get a tier in here. I do think Moore has a lot of upside against the Jets. Again, that secondary is just atrocious, but so does Robbie, who had more fantasy points, more targets last year. Like DJ Moore just, I think, is pretty steadily overrated. I'm not a DJ Moore guy this year. That was not clear. I mean, you're going to need points against Kansas City. That being said, I think Ayuk could go banana land against Detroit. Just have one of those big, deep balls. I like all this whole tier is nice. I'm trying to think of how I organize them, though. Like, is there anyone I feel significantly better? I think we know the deal with Deonte Johnson. If he plays, he's going to see 10 targets. He's going to put up about 15 points. So he deserves to be a little bit higher. I feel like he kind of has earned his like spot among the like likely wide receiver ones. Do think Allen Robinson normally is going to be up here. Just for the record, it's just the Jalen Ramsey matchup has to have you a little bit skittish this week. Don't be surprised if Cooks just goes nuts against Jacksonville. They're going to try to run Ingram into the ground. That game's just going to be gross. I think they're just going to be both teams going back and forth, trying to pound the rock with occasional deep shots, and maybe Lawrence hits his, but like Tyrod Taylor, come on, give me a break. I do think the Visca deserves a bump up. Judy above Debo, despite that being such a good matchup for him. Marvin Jones. Yeah, if I'm going to bump these guys up, I probably need to bump Trevor Lawrence up the more I think about it. Is Corey Davis the number one there, or is my man Elijah Moore? think it's my man Elijah Moore. All right, let's kind of get some tiers in here and keep going. I think this is right. Visca, high quality wide receiver 2 tier, I would call this. A lot of people will have these guys as their wide receiver 3, even better. Quality wide receiver 2 tier. I think it's going to take a little while for Chase to get going. It could be rookie smash. Look at this, like right off the gate. So much for those drops. Anybody can see that narrative. But yeah, a little nerve-wracking. I do think more. Marquise is like the last man standing alongside Sammy Watkins, who is always smashing week ones. I'll bump him up. Oh, Myers, come on. He's got to be top 36. Easy. No doubt about that in my mind. That's a gross ranking. Curtis Samuel got pulled up with his groin injury today, so I think that's got to be monitored. Callaway balling out, like, get him up. Absolutely. The Steelers are just so tricky to figure out week to week. Man. I don't like Parker at all, so I think we can just continue to bump him down. Sanders, I'd rather have him than Parker. Shepard, Waddle, Gage. Gage, I think, could do a little more damage than this. Marquise could go for a deep ball. But I don't know. Not into Galladay against the secondary, banged up himself. Landry, I think, gets a little bump up. There's some weeks where I just won't touch these guys, but this is not one of them. I'll put him here. Maybe I'm not that much higher on Landry. So let's kind of call this tier wide receiver 3s I'm fine with. Some upside flyer tier. Mooney getting away from Ramsey. He could have himself a day. I'm not going to touch Galladay this week. Maybe he makes me look like a moron, but not into that. I think Terrace Marshall. Ooh, bump this guy up. He's catching a touchdown. He's going to be a touchdown machine. He belongs up there with Moore. Yeah, so I'm significantly like a plus 15 on him. Watkins. These are some of your Hail Marys for the week. If you already need a Hail Mary. I don't want anything to do with the Las Vegas Raiders this week. Tyrell's going to be a target hog. And I think Hardman has a good shot to go deep. Mike Willie, not too into. Washington, just tough matchup. I don't know what's going to happen with that game. Like, I don't want to bench Herbert, but clearly I'm not that into their weapons. Beasley just underrated. Anyone else down here I want to pump? Don't be surprised to see Hamler or Davis do some big stuff. Rondale Moore against the Titans. They were force-feeding him. So clearly I'm into these rookies. Moore, Marshall, Moore again. I'm into these rooks. Pascal just always balls out and no T.Y. Hilton's there. Like that, he's going to do some damage. Deshawn Jackson, I'm liking. As just a guy, he's always a week one blow up. So I'm gonna bump him up over some of these peeps. What's Carolina's secondary ranking this year? pretty low. They did select, J.C. Horn, Passer Draft, Dante's. Chin's obviously had a great rookie year, but apparently not good on coverage. 59 PFF grade. AJ Boye was solid addition though. Let's get Peoples-Jones. They're shooting for points. Let's get him bumped up. Nico Collins against that awful Jags D. Let's bump him up. Maybe Cephas going deep. Oh, Quez Watkins. That's one that I want to highlight. He's going to be among my Hail Marys of the week. I think, okay, I'll dive back in and kind of sift through some of these and see if there's anyone else down here I really like. Crowder, we don't know if he's playing. That's hence kind of why I'm so bullish on Moore. Pittman as the alpha. Chark could just have one of those weeks. Somebody from the Jags is going to have a big week. I'm going to bump down Visca just a little bit because I don't know which one it's going to be, but somebody's having a big week there. Reports that Eckler's not practicing and working off to the side. Oh, boy. That just came through. Holy shit. Let me know if anybody has more. That just kind of popped up real quick, the alert on the side. So if you guys have any more info on that, let me know. But that's going to obviously impact a lot. Herbert's going to be bumped down the rankings big time if Eckler's not there. That's a huge weapon to be without. All righty, folks. We're almost there to your questions, 40 minutes in. I appreciate your patience as I get through all these. Let's check out tight ends. Now, I'm not that into tight end points against just because it's such a hit or miss position. But that being said, there were some teams that were just atrociously bad to tight ends, one of them being the Jets. So Dan Arnold, the Bears against Higbee could be really interesting there. Browns against tight ends. He may want to start Travis Kelce, I guess. DraftKings smash play. I know he's expensive, but get him in there. Such a big edge. Falcons versus TEs. So, you got Goddard and Ertz in that committee, but this is a week where that could work because they're just so bad. Jags against tighties. Maybe that what is it, Brevin Jordan guy? Maybe he's something. Buffalo Bills versus tight ends were horrible last year. So Fry, Ebron, co-starters on the depth chart. Maybe they could get something going. The Bengals versus tight ends, very generous. Decent against wide receivers, but generous to tight ends. Tyler Conklin as a potential smash. Ooh, I could like that. Kansas City Chiefs versus tight ends. Generous. Hooper. Panthers, so you got Tyler Croft. Some of my favorite sleepers. You have Freiermuth, Conklin, Tyler Croft. Love these guys. And they get great matchups right out the gate. So I love that too. But as I said, I'm not going to put too much stock into these tight end rankings. We're up to 51 questions. Wow, you guys are fucking awesome. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be long-winded here. I'm just trying to get through all of these and then hit your questions. So yeah, you're putting Kelce in a tier by himself. I'm still Waller, no matter the matchup, unless the Ravens were weirdly incredible. They were middle of the pack. Lions were sneakily actually decent against tight ends compared to letting up top 3 points against every other position. So it's still going to be a points bonanza there. I love Andrews though this week. How are the Raiders against tight ends? They're a horrible secondary where they were okay against tight ends, but I still think Andrews smashes. Eagles for Kyle Pitts. Very good against tight ends. This is a good tier to me. Logan T. How are the Chargers against tight ends? I feel like they were sneaky bad. At 12, so not great. We mentioned Goddard getting a great matchup, but still a timeshare. I'll go after Tunyon. The Saints were really bad against the Titans at one point, but I think they kind of tightened it up by the end. 14, so middle of the pack. I like Tunyon a lot, though. I think that I'm not into Fant right off the bat. I do like Higbee. Second most points to the position last year. I like that. Gesicki. Pats against tight ends. How are the Pats? Pretty tough. Gesicki's one of the top targets there, but I think Jonnu could come right out for a big day. I've started to switch my tune on him. Henry's going to be active and active while out there too, but I like that. Gronk could definitely smash against Dallas. They're red against tight ends, though. I think the receivers are the ones that end up going nuts. How were the Dolphins against tight ends? Wow, pretty good. But again, that's tough to put too much stock in. You're just kind of hunting for a touchdown or bust at this point down here. So I think the Rams that's like one of the ways you could attack them. They're good against everything. But I do like Komet a little more than these rankings. I think Ebron is kind of like undervalued, just under the radar right now. Jared Cook, I do like, even if the football team is good against them, as they is everybody. But as I said, I like Conklin. Oh man, I like Conklin. I like Croft. Where's Mr. Croft? So you're not even on this list, Croft? Come on, there you are. And Juwan Johnson, if he's got tight end eligibility, he's a receiver in a lot of leagues, but I really like that kid. So let's add him in here. I'm going to add Fry as well. I think he has plenty of touchdown upside this week. Co-starter, he's going to get plenty of snaps. Get him in here. And I don't hate to borrow him. All righty. Yeah, Cook, I think, is a fair bet for a touchdown. But I really like Conklin. I really like Tyler Kroft this week. I wonder what his price is on DraftKings. That could be a smash play right there. If I'm trying to save at tight end. Definitely a good week for streaming tight ends, in my opinion. I'm not into Ferkser playing like third string. No. Give me like Knox at a shot at a touchdown instead. I like Danny Arnold, though. Most points allowed, the Jets. Maybe he can sneak into this streaming radar. I think we're being a little harsh on Ertz. A lot of targets coming his way. But Juwan, I like Juwan. He's athletic. Very athletic. No interest in Troutman. Like Jack Doyle. Kyle Rudolph was going to be the starter, but who really cares there? I don't care about Hurst. This is the Kyle Pitts show. Get him off the rankings. Maybe OJ Howard catches one. You're just in like pure like catch a touchdown range here. So give me like Pat Fry. And that shakes up the tight ends. So I'll quickly do my defenses, guys. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that. That'll be at 50-ish minutes, and we'll get to all these questions. I cannot wait to see what the Wolfpack has for me. Andy Dalton against the Rams. Come on. No-brainer, number one. I do think the Broncos against Daniel Jones belongs in that top tier, though. I wouldn't disagree with how these are ranked at all. You got 49ers against a horrible Detroit team. I might even put the Broncos ahead of them, though. Even the Ravens. I think Derek Carr, he'll get swallowed up. Football team could bump into this tier if Herbert is indeed out. For right now, I love the Pats, though. Miami. I think the Pats are going to come out and smash tomorrow or Sunday. I keep saying tomorrow. I wish it was tomorrow. Real football is tomorrow, but not all 7 hours of commercial-free football. That's not tomorrow. That's coming, though, folks. That is coming. All right, what else do we have? Defense gets pretty ugly, but as I said, I don't hate the Vikings as a stream for defense. I think the Bucks might force a pick six. Call it just like kind of an intuition, but I don't mind the Chargers, though, against Washington either. You could totally see Fitzmagic crap himself. I would say like this. So these are like your top 7 I really like this week. After that, it does get tough because you got like Steelers against, good defense, but they're facing Buffalo who should put up points. You got Chiefs could be opportunistic, but Cleveland's going to run the ball down their throats. So it does get tougher. I don't hate the Packers, though. I think Jameis Winston could turn that ball over quite a bit. I know the Bills are getting a ton of love on defense. I don't know that I see that. I think Indy deserves a little bit of a bump up. They're at home. It's a new offense. Russell, historically does start significantly, like wicked fast, but I don't know. I think the Carolina Panthers are intriguing too. Where are they on this list? 13. I'll bump them up to 10. I'm into this Panthers unit. I think they're going to surprise. And I do like Wilson. I said I think that game could go significantly over the points. I think the Pats are going to steamroll this team, so I'm going to bump down the Dolphins. The Jags, it's just like you bet on how bad Houston is, essentially, is what that one is. Texans, like just better than some of these options. I wouldn't be shocked if Darnold also crapped himself there too. So that's going to be an up in the air game for me. I think the Giants, they suck, but their defense is actually pretty solid. So I might bump them up just a little bit. They're at home. Yeah, that's about it. So hopefully you can find one of these top 13. No reason to spend much more time on defense. And that wraps up the week 1. Thank you so much. I didn't mean to remove myself. Let's remove that, and let's get on over to your questions. Hype. Football time. Let's do it. Let's go, K. Cool Whip. Love to see you. Investing Guide is awesome, Wolf. Thank you so much for checking it out, Jordan. Just a reminder, too, if you do have your drafts, I know we're getting late into draft season here, but if you still have a draft tonight or you just want to show the site some love, you see that bottom line, rotostreetjournal.com/guide. So, only $10. Very nice. Your support would mean the world, guys. And we'll find out some ways to monetize during the season, too, for those of you that might have missed the guide and want to still show your appreciation as well. The man, the myth, the legend, Mitch Chavez, what a lovely fan you are, man. Showing up to all of them. I appreciate it. Love texting with you all day. Ooh, what up, DS Marks? Oh, let's get it. Kevin Ford, Happy New Year. Let's go, baby. Great to see you showing up. Week 1 is here, Tunes. I agree. I'm so fucking pumped. Let's get it. Do I sit A-Rob? Let's get some questions here. For Judy this week, sounds dumb, but Dalton sucks and is going to get pounded. My brother has a question similar to that too, Jordan. Like he has solid receiver depth, and it's A-Rob against Ramsey, and you have Dalton who sucks. Like, oh, man, I get it. I get the logic. I probably wouldn't, but yeah, that's tough. That's a tough call. Where are you leaning, Jordan? I probably just go with A-Rob. I think he's good enough to beat Ramsey for a score at some point. But yeah, if you're feeling that, I don't blame you by any means. But I'd go A-Rob. James White or Tony Jones need to drop one before Sunday. So, okay, cool. Do you need the usability of White as your running back room sketchy? And you might need a plug-in? Then you keep White. Do you want some upside on your bench? The highest upside handcuff, Latavius Murray averages 34 points per game. He just got cut. So I would keep Tony if I need the upside, White if I need the floor. What up, DiLorenzo? Thanks for showing up, brother. Full PPR. I could see A-Rob being like 3 for 20, like gross. Go with full PPR. Like Judy's going to catch some more balls. He shouldn't have any problem. Who's going to be on him for the Giants? Like, is Bradbury covering him or is he covering Sutton? Bradbury is a problem. I'm still going with A-Rob, I think. But check in on Sunday for sure, Jordan. Here's a tricky one. Half PPR, A.J. Dillon, Sermon, or Callaway. I'd go Callaway there. It'd be Callaway or Sermon. I don't want to roll out Dillon yet. I want to see, does he have that goal line role? Because Jones is great. If Dillon's got it, then he could be an every week starter. But let's see that first. And New Orleans has the top run D in the league. Give me Callaway. He might get the Jair treatment, but that's Winston's guy. That's everybody's guy in camp. I'm going to go with that. Sermon would be my next man up, though, because I think they're going to get such a big lead and want to give that rookie some run late. Would not be shocked at all if he gets in the end zone. So I'd rank him Callaway, Sermon, then Dillon. What up, Dylan Adams? Good to see you, brother. Do I play Mike Davis or Chase Edmonds full PPR? I have to play one of them. I'm going to go Davis there. Full PPR Edmonds is tempting me, though. That is very tempting. Titans gave up the second, third most points as we saw. So that is tempting. Marvin Jones, Cole Beasley, or Jarvis Landry. Give me. I got to know the scoring here, too, because full PPR obviously bumps up Beasley and Landry. But give me Jones there for the big play against that awful Texans D. Starter sit Barkley. Depends on who the other option is, Schneider. I have him top 20-ish, but don't feel great about him. One day away. Let's go, Mike Clay. Indeed. Godwin or Marvin Jones? I'll go Godwin there because Dallas is just so bad. He practiced in full. He should be good to go. But I do think it's going to be a little bit less than you could come to expect because of how good, what's his name? Brown's looking. Mike Lesvos bought 10 investing guides. 10? Did you? No way. You're the fucking man, Mike Les. You've been a day one guy. You're a legend. I hope you like the guide. I know it's so late in the game. You support the pack like that. You're a stud. You're just a stud, Mike Les. Oh, my God. Too generous. David Montgomery, Kareem Hunt, or AB. Keep hearing it's bad matchup for Monty. It is. I'm going to go AB there. I'm going AB. I'm really feeling him tomorrow. Now, the thing is, if you're playing him in your flex, you actually want to get him into your lineup, Robert, because you don't want to ruin that flex eligibility in case something crazy happens. You want to keep that option open. So just bump down one of your receivers to the flex and put him in there. Davis or Henderson PPR. I'm going Davis there. I'm not a big Henderson guy. I'm not. Guys really looking good. Look forward to next year's for sure. I'm going to make sure to get it up earlier for you guys next year. I know some of you guys just bought it to support me. I love you guys for doing that. But I want to make sure it's actually useful for you guys and get it out 3 weeks earlier and just update it throughout the summer, right? That's the plan, Mitch. But thank you so much for your support. RoastedJournal.com/guide if you also want to just buy one to support the pack as we head into the year. Pick one PPR, one flex, and one receiver. Sutton, Debo, Melvin Gordon, Russell Gage, Rondale Moore, my guy, Mike Less. Going to go Debo, and I'm going to go those first two. Full PPR, Debo against Detroit. I know Sutton gets a tougher matchup against James Bradbury, but I don't trust Gordon. I think I want to see that backfield, how it plays out before I use either. And if I'm using one, it's going to be Javonte, the talent. Gage is intriguing against that bad Philly secondary, and so is Rondale against that horrible Titans preseason monster with usage. But let's see how that all shakes out with Rondale. You know Sutton and Debo are ballers in this league. Even in a little bit of tougher matchup for Sutton, I'm going to go those two guys. Marcus May is the only one. Yeah, good. That's better than I could have done. And he's not even that good, Mitch. Like, he's okay. Jets secondary is a work in progress. A lot of young guys who could be good or bad, says Mike. Yeah, I'm going to bet on bad. Maybe Salad gets the best out of them, though. He is a defensive guy, so we will see. What's up, Spencer? I'm in a PPR league and need an RB2. Should I trade Gaskins and A.J. Brown for James Robinson and Deonte Johnson? Ooh, that's a good off. Like, that's a pretty fair deal, especially full PPR, Deonte. I think I'm holding, though, because I don't hate Gaskin as an RB2. I don't love him this week, but they're just hyping him up as a potential 3-down back. He's always been good and efficient when he gets the work. So I think I stay with A.J. Brown and Gaskin. It's not like it's that much of a smash with Robinson, this new offense. We'll see. What up, big homie? What's going on? Talk TC Sports. Thanks for showing up. Fitzmagic, Evan Buss. What up, Buss? Great to see you. Yeah, I'm into the Fitzmagic. I'll stream him all day. Yo, what's up, my homie? No2, always showing up. I appreciate it. How do you think Darnold's going to do? Revenge game, baby. I love it. Bad secondary for the Jets. He's going to want to show up, and I love that. So I'm into it. I am into Darnold. Bailey Fields, good to see you. How you feeling about Jalen Waddle? Is he a wide receiver 1 for the Dolphins? I like him a lot this year. Very intrigued. I like him more than Fuller or Parker this year. But it's so up in the air, and so is Tua. There's a lot of question marks with everybody there. There's injury concerns for all three. Tua, there's questions marks. So, like, I'm there, but I'm not huge. Taking the under on Wolf's Light. Wes Cup, what up, man? Great to see you. Thanks again so much for your donation the other day. That was so generous and so appreciated. But, yeah, the under, the light went out, and it's back. We're here. You just went half my roster decisions between Connor, Sermon, and Javonte. So, who did you pick, DiLorenzo? I talked through them all. Who's the ultimate guy? Do you start Harris over Edmonds and Davis? I do, Mitch. I think Davis is going for 101 to 2. I'm big into him. Even full PPR, I'm going Harris there. What about Callaway for the Saints being Michael Thomas is out? See the number 1? Yeah, absolutely. I just talked about Waddle for you. I'll go Callaway there if that's between those two guys. I don't remember your question. Sorry, Moreno. Eckler seems to have gotten hurt today. Yeah, we need to figure out what's going on there, Schneider. I got that text as I was going. Odell or Antonio Brown? I'm going AB there. Full PPR especially. I think he's going to ball out tomorrow on live TV. Flex spot, full PPR, Jamar Chase, Jacoby Myers, or Elijah Moore. I'm going to go Myers full PPR, especially with Aguilar a little bit banged up. Give me Myers there. Damn, I have Ridley, Terry Allen. Whew, 3 of my top 12 guys this week, Andres. That's a pretty decent wide receiver core. Unbelievable, man. Good stuff. DJ the BJ. Yeah, indeed, Todd Exotic. Yes. Don't know what to do with that, but I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here. That's a good way to announce yourself. Corey Davis over Elijah Moore. This week, yeah, I would, just because we've been seeing it from Davis already this preseason. But Mike Clay, don't get it twisted. There's very real chance Elijah Moore ends this year as the wide receiver 1. If I'm going this week, I'll go on what I've already seen, and that's Davis. But as early as this week, I wouldn't be shocked if Moore just comes out and has like 2 touchdowns. So torn over Julio or AB in the flex, full PPR. That is a tough one, Philly. Think I'm going to go Julio because Arizona's not a great secondary. And we got, AJ Brown pretty dinged up, but they're close for me. I think I have Julio like 15 and Brown like 20. So they're really close. You're leaning AB. So, and it gives you a little action tomorrow. Like that isn't why you should ever make a lineup decision, just to get some Thursday night action. That being said, if you need a tiebreaker, you're sitting there in your heart, you don't know who to play. Like I'm going to go Julio, but it is close. It is very close. Cody Hoxie, or you're saying, good to see you, Cody. Deonte or AB. I know you like Johnson more, but who doesn't? Exactly, like right on cue after I'm saying, who doesn't want some Thursday action? It is so fun to kick it off, and like Brown is a great reason to get it kicked off. Your others are AJ Brown and Justin Jefferson. Now, there was a report that Brown wasn't practicing today. Is that a maintenance day, or is something actually up there? I think it's a maintenance day, and my guess is he's just kind of getting ready for the season, Cody. But it might not be a horrible idea to play AB, because otherwise, and then you bench Deonte afterwards, just to give you that backup in case Brown doesn't play. It's much nicer to have Deonte just to plug right in there, right? But yeah, those are some crazy good receivers. I agree. Troutman playing, upgraded to healthy. Muhammad, I don't care. He's pass protecting if he's playing. Like I'm not into him. Not into Troutman at all this year. Him and Ferkser crossed him off the list completely. Bills fan, I don't want Johnson to do good. You can never make decisions with your heart like that, though, Cody, as much as I understand it. But you got a lot of reasons to play AB here, and it's not like those two are that far in the rankings. Anderson or Lockett, give me Lockett. Both kind of – Anderson did steady up the value, but I'm telling you, I think Terrace Marshall is going to be a nuisance for those other receivers here this year. Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith, I'm going to go Devonta against that awful Atlanta secondary. Just a more steady, consistent role, in my opinion, Bailey Fields. Eckler worked off, riding the stationary bike. I do not like to hear that. That's sketchy. Week 1, let's go, Bus. Let's go. I love it. Giuseppe Russo dropped Jay Williams for T. Jones Jr. Yeah, Williams, it's similar to that James White question, has more usability right off the bat. But if you don't need that usability, if you have 4 running backs ahead of Williams and you just need a 5th for stash, like give me Jones Jr. Jose Sierra. Deontay Higgins, AB, choose 2. Ooh, that's tough. Higgins is my lock there. And then Deontay versus AP. That's a coin flip, Jose. I go Deontay personally, but it's close. Leaning toward A-Rob, yes, he had Trubisky throwing the ball before, and he still got it done. He's gotten it done with Blake Bortles. Dalton might be the best quarterback he's ever played with Jordan, like as scary as that thought is. So, yeah, I'm going that way. Need 2, Mario Rob, happy PR. More Jets, Cooper versus Bucks, Woods versus Bears. I'm going to go Cooper and Woods there. That's where I'm leaning. I'm just not the biggest DJ Moore fan. Now, Jets, of course, is a team that 120 and 2 is up in the air for him, but I like Woods a ton, and Cooper I also really like. Brown or Mike Davis? I'm going to go Brown there, Lucid Dreams. I'm really into Brown tomorrow. Full PPR, Deonte, Higgins, Antonio Brown, Gaskin. Choose 3. I'm going to go the 3 receivers there, Jose. I'm going to bench Gaskin. Josh Allen, QB1. My backup bench QB is Matt Ryan, but Jameis Winston's on the wire. Should I stack with Kamara? I don't think you really should be that worried about your backup because you have Josh Allen, right? Like, whoever. It doesn't matter, David. You got freaking Josh Allen. Sure. No, I'd keep Matt Ryan there. I might not have a choice but to start Barkley, pending Eckler. Tough. Oh, no. You have to start like one of the best running backs in the league, Mr. Mike Schneider. But I get it. I get the reservation. A good Broncos defense. More susceptible to the run than the pass, but still a good defense against a team that could just get swallowed in the Jets in a less than full workload. I get the concerns, but that's your backup plan. I think you should be feeling pretty okay there, Schneids. What's going on, Christiana Freeman? Good to see you. Another regular to the show back. DJ Moore, Swift, Juju, Ayuk, Chark, pick 2, PPR. Thanks. Give me Moore, and then it comes down to Ayuk or Swift for me. I mean, Chark has blow potential, as they all do. I'm going to go Ayuk and Moore there. Full PPR, Christiana. Half PPR, Corey Davis, Debo, Trey Sermon. I like Davis there, West Cup. That's tough, but I like Davis there. Swift, Devonta, Jamar Chase, or Waddle for the flex. I like Devonta against this awful Atlanta. Most points to wide receivers last year. Worst secondary in the league. Plenty of targets coming. Give me Devonta. Mike Davis, Antonio Brown at Cooks for Lucid Dreams. I'm going to go Davis, Brown, or Cooks. I'm going to go Antonio Brown there, Lucid Dreams. Billy Benfield, 2 flex full PPR. DJ Chark, Pittman, or do I slide in Elijah Moore? I'd probably keep Moore on the bench for now to see those 2 guys. Not because I want to bench Moore as a talent. I want to see him play first, if I can. I'm going to probably put him in my lineup this week over Javonte at my flex, though. Billy, I don't know. I'm feeling Moore a lot. But Chark against Houston, blow-up potential. Pittman, the clear number 1 against a bad Seattle team. I'm going to go those 2, but if you're really in your gut feeling Moore, like it's justifiable. But I'm going to go the first 2, Chark and Pittman. What up, Jimmy Bridges? LaVisca or C. Davis in the flex? I'm going to go LaVisca. Yeah, LaVisca. Ooh, they're close. They're close for me. I think Visca against Houston, though, that could be blow-up central. So I'm going to go Visca there, Jimmy Bridge. Big fan of the channel. Thank you, Billy Benfield, and anybody else out there. If this is the first time or you've been here forever, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We will be live tomorrow for our Thursday preview show, and we'll hit all the sit-start questions. I will be live right around 7 p.m. Eastern time. Get through about a 45-minute show and leave the rest of the time for your sit-starts leading up to kickoff. Oh, boy, I can't wait. But big fan. If you hit that thumbs up button, it helps us get out to more people. Hit the subscribe, get the bell so you know when we're live, and we'll answer all your questions at the end. Joel Yee, welcome to the show. Would you get rid of Eckler, Kelsey, or Tyreek the Freak to try and diversify? If so, who would you trade away and who would you try to get? No, I don't want to get rid of not Eckler. It's either Kelsey or Tyreek. No, that's one of those things, Joey. It's like if you're going to go all in on offenses, one, it's not a bad strategy. Like you stack offenses, but especially stacking the Chiefs. Like how did you pull that off that you got Tyreek and Kelsey? I don't know, but I would not be in a rush to ruin that. That is an offense you absolutely can be all in on and have both of those guys. They're unbelievable. They could both be number 1 at their position. Like Kelsey will be number 1 at the position, and then Tyreek could easily be number 1 at the position. No way you trade neither one of them. No need to do that. Swift gas. That's the definition of getting too cute, Joel. Swift Gaskins or Carson. I'm going Carson there. Duck Patel. Give me Carson there for sure. Need one running back to start. Javonte versus Giants. Swift versus Niners. Sony versus Bear. Mario Rob. Not great. I have the same issue here with Javonte versus Sony. I'm going to actually go Swift here, though. Could catch a lot of balls in catch-up time. So I'm going to go him. Especially a half PPR. Yeah, he'll get some catching points. No, I still have Kamara as my running back 1 with Eckler and Barkley. Whew. How did you pull that one off, Schneider? That's insane. Well, awesome stuff, Wolfpack. We got about 100 questions on a random Wednesday without me even announcing we're going to be live. I love to see it. Thank you so much for the interaction. Be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. live for our tune-up show where we'll go through everyone I'm higher, lower, Hail Mary. You guys know that segment if you've been here before. We'll cover the trainer's room pretty quickly with all the news you need to know for Thursday night. We won't go to everybody. We'll give you a couple people to track for Sunday too. And then we'll get to your questions. That's what we know you're here for on Thursday at the kickoff. We'll celebrate. I mean, Mitch Chav, as you know what happens on Thursdays, especially the first Thursday of the year. We'll be putting back some IPAs. I'll promise you that. I cannot wait for that. But guys, it's going to be a blast. And again, if you want to support the show heading into the season, especially if you have a draft, the guide only $10, as you can see in the comments. I'm not paying people to praise it. I'm just so happy that it's useful for those of you that got it, that you love it. That you're looking forward to it next year. Awesome. That's amazing. And if you missed out on the guide and you still want to support the show, $10 for it. It's awesome. Or you could at Roto Street Journal Venmo. We're on there as well if you want to just toss us a tip to get ready for the season. As I've said, not to be a dick, but going into this year, I am going to be prioritizing the messages of the fans that have come out to support us. And that's been so many of you. So I already have a loaded list of guys I need to make sure I'm supporting that have supported us. But I won't have time for people that just simply don't have the $10. Not trying to be an asshole, but it's going to be the busiest year of my life. Tons of stuff going on at school, tons of stuff going into other business related stuff for the site. It's great, but I'm not going to have a ton of time to just get to the random DMs as I've always been able to in the past, sadly. So continue to support the site, and I will continue to back you guys up as well. You know I love you, Wolfpack. Thank you again so much for being here this Wednesday. Hope to see you tomorrow live for an awesome kickoff. I cannot believe we're one sleep away. In a world full of fantasy sheep, guys, be the wolf. See you tomorrow.